Hello there, everyone. Hopefully this finds you doing outstanding. It is Sunday, February the 6th in the year 2022. And hopefully this finds you doing well. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a topic today that I think everyone should pay attention to. It's something, doesn't matter if you're 20 years old, 45, 50, 55. It's never too late. Well, I won't say it's never too late. I'll say 55, 56, 57. Around there might be the top age. I don't know. It's just something off the top of my head. Because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. Nothing like that. But the topic, and especially if you're young, please pay attention all the way through this video, okay? It's important to you. All right, and what I'm going to talk about, and don't stop the video as soon as you hear this topic. What I'm going to talk about is self-directed IRAs. Okay, self-directed IRAs. Almost everyone who's of adult age has heard about IRAs. We have Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs. Those are the two main ones that I know about. There's some other ones as well. But a self-directed IRA, the majority of folks, I dare say, like a very high percentage of folks, have never heard of a self-directed IRA. Okay, I first heard about a self-directed IRA, I believe, from Clayton Morris Invest, from his YouTube channel several years ago. I believe. I think that's where I heard about it from. But anyway, the longer I've had a self-directed IRA, the more I have come to appreciate it. And I'll throw this out in the beginning. I think my buddy in Virginia, Will, has a self-directed IRA, and he's bought one house in it. I think Helicopter Pilot Caleb has a self-directed IRA. He's bought one house in it. My oldest son has a self-directed IRA. I don't think as of yet he's bought a house in it. I'll ask him when I talk to him. I don't think he has. And maybe some others in my group have self-directed IRAs, and I just don't remember it. But I have a self-directed IRA, and so does the missus. Okay. When we first got our self-directed IRAs, I had a Roth IRA with stocks in it. I wanted to buy a house in my self-directed IRA because self-directed IRAs, you can hold assets that aren't your typical stocks and bonds. You can buy real estate, you can buy rental houses, you can invest in other assets, you can buy mineral rights acreage, you can possibly invest in oil drilling companies, you can invest perhaps in syndications of apartments, you can loan money out, if you have money in your self-directed IRA, you can loan it to an investor at an interest rate. You got to do the paperwork for it, but you can charge them interest, and it can be a decent interest to get the interest back, okay? So if you just have cash in your self-directed IRA, perhaps you want to loan it out, perhaps, because then it's hands-off. You're not managing a property manager, managing property, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever you buy in your self-directed IRA, though, like if you buy a rental house, you can't pay expenses for that rental house out of your pocket. It has to come out of the IRA, the funds in the IRA, okay? And there's other stipulations, and I encourage you to just read about what the rules and regulations are of a self-directed IRA. There are numerous custodians that you can use for your self-directed IRA. I have one custodian for myself, one for the missus. I will say their names. I don't endorse them. I'm not recommending them. Perhaps one day I'll get somebody from one of those custodians to come on my channel. They can talk about it, okay? All right, the one I personally use for myself is Quest. All right, I like them, okay? I like them. I've gotten some good advice from them. They have webinars. They have a YouTube channel. And they give out a lot of free education type materials because a custodian cannot recommend you buy such and such of an asset. But they'll have webinars with guests on there talking about what they do. Like maybe it's a mineral rights acreage, and there'll be someone talking about that. That's how I learned about it. Maybe it's a syndication. They'll talk about it. But let me get to the meat of this talk, okay? I hope you haven't tuned out by now. Self-directed IRAs, let's say you buy a rental house in there, okay? Like I did and like the missus did. All right, what happens is that rent gets deposited into self-directed IRA. It doesn't come to us. It doesn't come into our bank account. It goes to the IRA. The cash stays in there, okay? Taxes get paid out of it. Insurance gets paid out of it. Expenses get paid. Maybe it needs a new roof, whatever. It comes out of that IRA. But as that cash grows, or maybe you have more cash that you've put into it, maybe you can buy a second house. Maybe you buy alternative assets like I did. What I have done with my self-directed IRA, I have 2 different positions in mineral rights acreage plus 1 rental house. Okay, the rental house has been paying rent. one of the mineral rights acreage has been paying a small amount each month because that was how it's going to work. It's going to pay a small amount the first year, second year is going to pick up, third year is going to jump up hopefully. But then the other position they've been delayed for various reasons, but I'm supposed to get my first payment later this week, I think it is. And it should be a healthy one, okay, I think. It'll be several months worth of drilling and whatnot, so it should be a healthy check. So we'll see. The missus in hers has one rental house and one position in a mineral rights acreage, which that position it's been paying for 4, 5, 6 months now. Smaller amounts like percentages, but it just paid a monthly percentage of 7.7%. Annualized, that's like 92%. So that one it did well, but I found out after the fact that was covering like 2 or 3 months there, so it's not really a 92% return. It's 2 or 3 months. Anytime a new well drills, it takes 2 to 3 months for them to get that payment out. So anyway, I digress. But the beauty of self-directed IRAs is I'm better seeing it now than ever, is that let's say you buy a rental house, all right? And let's say when you buy it, you're paying cash for it more than likely, because if you get a mortgage on it, that's the only thing. You don't use the bank's money as leverage. You normally pay in full, because if you get a mortgage, the percentage of the house is paid for with the mortgage. Like say you got to put 20% down and the bank gives you 80%. That 80% is taxable. It's separate from your IRA in some way. It's complicated. You got to get CPA involved. I've never done it. I don't know too much about it, so I'm not going to talk about it, okay? So I'm going to talk about if you pay cash for a house. Let's say when you pay cash for a house, you find a good deal. Let's say when you pay cash, it's a 10% cash on cash return, okay? Maybe if you've gotten a mortgage, it might be a 25% cash on cash return, but it's a 10% cash on cash return. But now you have a paid off house that's in your IRA. The IRA owns that house, all right? But over time, what happens? Rents will go up. So that 10% return may turn into a 15% return, maybe turn into a 20% return. It'll get better over time, all right? And as rents go up, that means more cash is coming into your IRA. And then you could do perhaps like me. Maybe you don't want to save up X number of dollars to buy a second house. So maybe you take $10,000 as an example and you make an investment into mineral rights acreage or into a syndication or whatever, where you get money coming in, which then you got rent, you got more money coming in. That's what I have in my self-directed IRA. I have rent and 2 mineral rights positions that bring cash in. When cash comes in this week on my second mineral rights for the first time, I am very close. I don't know exactly how much I'm getting, but I'm very close to having enough to perhaps buy another asset for that IRA. If not right now, perhaps by next month when I get another rent check, it'll be enough. Because I always want to keep some cash in there just in case something happens to my house. The furnace goes bad, the hot water heater, the roof, I need to have cash in there, all right? Now, if for some reason, because I could be aggressive and say, oh, I want to buy this, and maybe I go low on cash, what I could perhaps do is contact, as an example, my buddy in Virginia or my buddy who's a helicopter pilot and say, hey, do you have any cash in your IRA that maybe you can loan it to me? Maybe $5,000 you can loan it to me. I'll pay interest. I'll borrow and pay interest, and then I'll pay you back through my IRA as I get my cash built up. And those guys are my buddies, so it's a possibility. I'm not saying that'll ever happen. I'm just saying that's a possibility. Same for me. If they ever needed money because they got aggressive, maybe I have cash and I could loan it to them. I'm just throwing that out. All right. So the beauty is as time goes on, because even if you're 20, if you're a youngster watching this, you're 18, you're watching this, and you're thinking, you're not going to live to be 59 and a half. That's like way down the road. And guess what? I was approximately 22 years old when I opened my first IRA. 22 years old, I remember thinking that. I had those exact same thoughts. It's like 59 and a half, I'm 60 years old. That's like, I'll be old. That's ancient history. But then the other part of my brain said, mazske, there's a good chance you'll live to be 60 and you might live beyond and you'd have money. No matter what your financial situation is, you'll get more money. So fast forward till now, and I'm 54 years old, okay? So I got, say, roughly I'm 54 and a half-ish. So roughly 5 years, I can start taking money out of that IRA. And here's just a thought. Say I just had one rental house, or say I had 2 rental houses. say I want to keep X number of dollars in there as cash, and just say it's $10,000 for easy math. Now, so I have $10,000 in there. In theory, every month when I get my rent check, I don't have a mortgage to pay. I got my $10,000 in there. I could perhaps withdraw the entire rent check, so it's $1,000. That's $1,000 tax-free. Not just one time, every month. And then as rents go up, it's more. But if you're young, if you buy, my young buddies I mentioned who bought their one house, as time goes on, guess what they'll probably do? They'll probably buy a second house. They might buy a third house. Maybe they'll get some mineral rights acreage. Maybe they get a syndication. And they may be thinking 60 years old is so long in the future, but they're going to wake up one day and they're going to be like, wow, I'm almost 60. And no matter what their financial situation is, when they are of age to start tapping into their IRA, it's going to help them in some fashion. I don't know how to help them. Maybe they'll have children or grandkids or friends or cousins or niece or nephews, and all they want, they don't need the money, so they start donating it to family members or donating it to a charity. I don't know. Or maybe they need it to buy groceries. I don't know. But isn't it nice to have options? Yes, it is. So consider it. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just telling you to consider it. So if you watch this video, you now know what the basics of a self-directed IRA. All right. Oh, I'll throw out one other name. My missus has a custodian called Camaplan. I have mine in Quest. She has hers in Camaplan. There are a variety. There's dozens of other custodians. I do not endorse any of them. All I will say is I like Quest. Okay? I like Quest. All right, but there's more, and I haven't experienced all the others. Okay? I'm not saying anything bad about Camaplan. They're acceptable, but I like Quest personally. But it's personal preference. Okay? All right, so y'all take care. If you have any questions, comment away. Let me know if you're considering this. I'm curious. If you're one of my folks who regularly watch this channel, I hope you consider it. Sure, you might not think you can pay cash for a house right now. Sure, you might not be accredited where you can buy mineral rights acreage, but guess what? If you got $20,000 in the stock market and now it's cut in half to be $10,000, maybe you can put it in there and maybe you could loan the money to somebody and get a 10% return. Just no volatility, just a 10% return. Maybe. I'm just throwing that idea out. Okay? All right. Y'all take care. Stay safe. Tune in to my one rental at a time later today. I think I'm supposed to interview today with Michael Zuber. So I don't know what time he'll upload it, but sometime later today there may be me babbling with him. So, all right, y'all take care. Stay safe. Love life. Mazske is signing out.